Retaliate against the United States for last year's expulsion of 35 Russian diplomats.
It's 12:01.
Graduate.
KLEK LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for our Thoughts on the Matter, a program offering opinions from all sides of the issues concerning local, state, and national topics of importance to the Jonesboro community. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters, donors, or sponsors.
All right, now let's try this again. KLEK 102.5 FM. Good morning to you on your Saturday.
Good afternoon.
It's 1 minute past the hour of 12 o'clock. You're tuned to our Thoughts on the Matter. Cato Wonder is in the studio with you. Our usual moderator, Mrs. Kabila Harden, could not make it this week, but we are joined by our panelists, and looks like even though we're going into Mother's Day, this just might be all men talking today. We have Mr. Brad Dial, and we also have Brother Cobb, so you can check out every Sunday on Victory Praise Gospel here on KLEK. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started into our discussion. Now, first part of the show, we're going to talk about ward-based versus at-large voting. And this was an issue that actually came up a lot during the election last year. There were several city council seats that were up for election. And this was actually a question that I actually, when we did interviews, asked every person that was running, were you in favor of either the current system we have, which is at-large voting, where every person throughout the city picks the person, even if that person lives in a particular ward, or a more ward-based system where only the people in that particular ward actually get to choose that person. And majority of the candidates that we talked to were actually more in favor of the at-large option. Now, one of the candidates, Dr. Richard Wang, who actually did not win his race, actually was on the record and said he was in favor for the ward-based system. So we're going to kind of use that as a jump off to lead into our discussion. So guys, what do you think?
Well, personally, and I've actually ran for election in the area. I've ran for a county position before, and even though I personally did not win mine, I would honestly say I would still be open for the more ward-based, the voters of your area who you're trying to represent. I personally believe that that's probably the better option. Simply because if you are going to be a, for lack of a better term, delegate or representative of an area, you want to make sure that people of your area have faith in you enough to vote for you. That would be my opinion.
Okay, that's I'm glad, because I thought we were going to have a debate today. No, that's my opinion too. I believe in the ward voting than the at-large, because at-large, I mean, you may live on the south side, but you want to vote, run against someone on the north side. You got friends all over the city, and they're going to put you in, but you don't know anything about that area. I mean, because there's some areas in Jonesboro we don't go. I mean, I don't go to Hilltop, so why would I want to run for a ward position out there when I don't even frequent that area at all, unless I'm going through?
Yep.
So I like for a person, to me, I get more out of a person voting to be in that position where they are, where they're, where they live at and do business at.
Right. One of the cut y'all, Brad, but when we was doing the interviews with people, one of the answers that I constantly kept hearing from people who are in favor of the at-large system was, well, once you get on the council, you're representing the interests of the entire city of Jonesboro, is not just the interests of your ward. So kind of want to get you guys' response to that argument. And I'm not arguing one particular stance or another. I'm just kind of putting the information out there.
I think it's a great question. You're absolutely right. You're on the city council at that point, or whatever council you're representing, whether it's a city level or a county level or a national level. You are representing that as a collective group, yes. But if you have people from one subset area that turn out in massive numbers, for example, and they elect somebody that has no ties to their spot, I mean, at that point you're really not getting a representation. You're not getting a diversified group at that point. Well, you have a chance to not get a diversified group on a board to make decisions for a community. And typically what you end up seeing is sometimes the worst, people stack the deck. You can get tons of people to come out and vote for one particular person that has no representation in their physical boundary. Again,
they're just popular.
yeah, you in essence have the ability to stack the deck. And how do you not have that happen? People need to get out and vote, and that's always the first thing. If you're not happy with the way things are, get out and have a voice, vote. That's your right.
I mean, I believe in at large. I mean, at the award voting, because I am a member of our church, and we have different areas. And I was over Northeast Arkansas, and then somebody else over Southeast Arkansas, someone else over this area. But we know the people in our area. But now when we came together as a whole, we made decisions for the whole Arkansas Youth Department. But yet and still, we still went back and told our people in that area that we was over about this. We broke it down to them, but as a whole, yes, we was on like a committee for the whole state of Arkansas. But that's what it is. If you're here on the council, you on the council, you having your meetings and stuff like that. But it's for you to go back and tell your voters about the situation. But if the voters don't know you, I mean, what they gonna do? I mean, you here, but we don't ever see you. You don't even be over here.
And that's definitely a point to consider. One of the things that I also mentioned was perhaps a hybrid system, and you do have some cities that have their city councils or school boards organized this way, where some of the positions are based on ward, and then you have a couple of at-large positions that the entire city votes on. And the example that I would point to is kind of like our U.S. Congress. The House of Representatives is broken up into districts, and people that live in each individual district elect their representatives for that chamber. Well, in the Senate, the entire state votes on who those two senators are. So, that was something that I had put out there, perhaps having a hybrid-based system for the city and as a compromise. So, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, there's
the representatives are still just for that area. And the Senate, like you said, it's 2 senators for each state. So the whole state votes for those 2 senators, but the representatives are still representing the area where they're from. And because a lot of people don't even know the representative for this area, So
I guess
it's just good for someone else. They won't know.
Maybe to make it extremely simplified is if your title has a portion of it that says I am representative of X, I think the people of X should be voting on who represents
right.
them. Now you have certain positions that they umbrella the entire area. Certain positions in the city or the county, they are over the entire collective. That should be voted on by everybody. But if you are running for a position that says I represent this section, that section I believe honestly needs to vote for you and instill that trust from that group of people.
All right, so Brad, let me put this out there to you, and Brother College can chime in on this as well. Why do you think there's such resistance in the city of Jonesboro to going to a ward-based system? Because again, when we interviewed all of the candidates, just about all of them said they wanted to keep it at large. Now, of course, there's been anecdotal rumors over the years that some people think that the reason why it's at an at-large system is to dilute the voting strength of certain demographics in the community. Again, that's just things that I've heard over the years. But why do you guys think there's such a resistance to going to a ward-based system as opposed to the at-large system that we have now? And do you think that it'll ever change, or do you think that we're going to probably have this for some time to come?
I've honestly, and maybe this is just my ignorance on that particular section of it, I've actually not heard much of an argument to change how we vote. And maybe I've just been in the wrong group of people, but I've honestly not heard people wanting it to change. And if they did, their right as a citizen is to voice that opinion and try to make that happen. I would think if collectively, if the majority of people wanted to see that change, we could see that change.
I've heard what he was talking about. I've heard that argument a while back when Reverend Weldon was alive, and it's just the ordeal that how can you represent us and you don't know us? So why not get someone that know us? And be around us to represent us.
No,
so you can have somebody like just at Ridge Point representing the north side. I mean, you're totally different. You might pull yourself up by the bootstrap and move over there, but yet still, this area needs someone that can just agree with them or try to put somebody on the committee. Bring some of that stuff over here. You know,
Right.
don't pull it all over there. You know, as your alderman, he can help bring some traffic, some of the money to your area instead of trafficking all out toward the areas that's doing well already. But letting this side go down, or whatever side it is. I'm just not talking about just one side. Just whatever side is going down, the alderman can get together and say, "Hey, let's work in my area some." You know. Don't just stand over in somebody else's area when we need it too.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you on that. I guess with looking at this question, it's just simply I have not been around people that truly have voiced that we want the voting practice.
Well, it hasn't
to
been
change.
an actual.
I've been around it.
Well, it has been, at least in the last couple election cycles I've lived here, that been an actual formal push forward. You know, it's just, you know, I guess, well, Brother Cobbs, you're a barber, you know, as to say the old term barbershop talk about, you know, how they wish, you know, things could possibly be. But, of course, you know, like we always say, you know, if you want to make change, then you actually have to show up at the meetings and start to process to affect change if this change is what you want. I believe Mrs. Amanda Donovan may be getting ready to join us.
To show up for the meeting, a lot of the meetings are not really broadcast to let people know when it is. Some people say it was the first Tuesday, it's the second Tuesday, it's the third Tuesday, whatever day it is.
It's the first and third Tuesday of every month.
Okay, well, to me that need to be broadcast until enough people know about it that need to know to come. I mean, what's wrong with the radio station or the TV station or the newspaper announcing we have a city council meeting this coming next week at such and such time? You let people plan to attend. Because it seems like to me, I think every time I see one on TV, it seems like the same people over and over.
All right, we have Ms.
no diversity, really.
All right, you're tuned to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. We are talking about the issue of at-large versus ward voting, and we're just joined by Mrs. Amanda Donovan. Before we bring in Mrs. Donovan's comments, if you have a question or a comment, you can give us a call at 870-277-1080. Once again, that phone number is 870-277-1080. So now we're going to bring in Amanda and kind of get her thoughts.
Good morning, all.
And pull the mic closer to you.
Afternoon, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for my tardiness. My husband is actually right
All right,
now.
well, we've got a call, so
Awesome.
let's go to the phones. KLEK, who's this? KLEK, who's this? Oh, KLEK, are you there? Well, caller, please call back, and we'll be glad to put you on. So, back to your thoughts, Amanda.
My husband's actually installing my Mother's Day present, and I was helping him. I'm sorry. But my thoughts on this is I am totally for the ward-based voting. I mean, it just does not make sense how somebody who's actually been involved in the community, who is actually live in that community, whereas somebody might not be known all across town, whereas that other person is. Now, that person who's known all across town, yes, knows more people around town, but is not actively involved in their community and does not know what actually is happening. They just have a more known name. And that's happened more and more frequently here in the last several decades. And I've actually brought that up about introducing a Ward 6. And the way our wards are drawn out.
Well, don't we already have a Ward 6?
No, well, no, that's for A-State.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Ward
so it'd be
Ward
07.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I remember Dr. Wang and
Bobby
Mr. Long, ran
I'm
for
sorry,
Ward
Mr.
6.
Long. I mean, Mr. Robbie. But I was introducing Ward 7, rather, for A-State, because the way my ward's drawn out, I'm in Ward 4. Whereas I live downtown, somebody who represents me lives all the way, south of town, close to Culver House, out there, South Culver House, out towards Craighead Forest. How does that man know what's going on downtown? So, I love both my councilmen's members, but, like I said, he lives out there close to Craighead Forest, whereas I live downtown. And that's my thought on the matter.
Well, I don't live within the Jonesboro city limits, but I've been here long enough, and I still say I'm like you. The ward base is, to me, it's a whole lot better because you're in tune with your people. You're in tune with the people in your area. Now, like I said, when you go on the city council, they put you on different organizations, different groups, and everything. But yet, and still, I'm pulling for my area. You know, I'm pulling for where I live. You know, bring business, do drainage. You know, whatever it is. I'm pulling for my. I want a piece of that pie also for Ward 2, Ward 3, whatever ward I'm in.
Right.
In my honest opinion, it should be based on, when we're talking about funds and stuff, we need to consider what's most needed. You know, the areas that need it the most, rather than, well, we got all these people sitting here screaming, hollering, I want this, I want that. You need to look and really consider what's going on and where the problems lie. And start with the biggest problem.
All right, let's see if we can get the phone to act right again. KLEK, who's this?
Good afternoon.
Morning, Miss
Good
Agnew.
afternoon.
Oh, afternoon, Miss Agnew.
Hey, how you doing, Miss Agnew?
How you guys doing?
Fine about yourself.
Great.
Good, good. I missed some of the conversation. I was listening in the car and had to turn the car off and get out and come in the house. So I missed. I got out just as you were coming in, Amanda. So I'm not sure what you said, but I just had a couple of comments on what I did here. And the first thing is I wanted to clarify that the way the system is set up now, you do have to live in your ward. Everybody votes at large, but you have to live in that ward in order to run in that ward. So to me, it makes absolutely no sense to require somebody to live in a ward, but allow everybody to vote for them. It just total nonsense. And there was a big drive a few years back. I moved here in 2000, and I think it was around 2003, 2004 maybe. There was a large group of residents that got together, petitioned, and went before the city council to see about getting the system changed to by ward voting. By ward voting particularly affects minorities in general. So if you are not in the minority, then most folks in the majority, there are a lot of supporters of the initiative, but most people don't really think about it. So you probably don't hear about it if you're not in circles where people are affected by at-large votes. And so when this group went before the council, it was several years ago, it was when their foreman was made. And they were told, or we were told at that time, that we didn't have enough constituents in the building. That if we wanted to make our voices heard, that we should bring more constituents. So we came back with a few more, not a lot. There weren't a whole lot of people. There were probably 40 to 50 people in the room. And so what they told us at that time was they checked. When I look back on it, it was time to check to come up with. They checked and they said that because in the city of Jonesboro, at that time there was no minority board, that there was no proof that people of color were being affected disproportionately because there was no ward that was majority people of color. And so that they had checked with the National Civil Liberties Union, and it had to be a decision made by the government. So it was just kind of dropped at that time, but it does keep coming up in circles. But I'll tell you what has happened now. There is a minority ward in North Jonesboro. There is a ward in North Jonesboro that has a larger number of Latinos and African Americans than whites. And so that, it has been mentioned in the NAACP if that's something that we should be looking at now because of changes and because of the times. But anytime people are in power and in position, they're not going to volunteer very easily to give that up. And so if you depending on the current council to make that decision, that's not going to happen, not without them being forced to do it. I will say, though, that for the last few years, there has been minority representation on the council. Dr. Coleman and Renelle Woods previously, and now there's Dr. Coleman and David McClain.
All right, Ms. Agnew, we got about 20 seconds. If you can stay on the line, we'll bring you back on the other side of the break. We'd love to continue to get your comments. So if you can just hang on the phone, we'll come back with you on the other side of the break.
Okay, I'll try.
All righty.
Stop dropping things in your house.
You tuned to Our Thoughts on the Matter, and we'll be back. This is KLEK 102.5 FM.
You're listening to Our Thoughts on the Matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
This is Leo with your KLEK Learn Spanish Minute. So let's say it's late at night and you want to go, you want to eat something, but you don't want to cook, all right? So usually you go to a restaurant, right? Restaurant is called restaurant.
Restaurant.
There you go. Restaurant is the place where they prepare food for you if you pay for it, right? There's different types of restaurants. When I start thinking of different restaurants, obviously I start with Italian. That's my favorite one. And we call it Italiano.
Italiano.
Then we have the Mexican restaurants, Mexicano.
Mexicano.
There you go. The Hindu are Hindúes.
Hindúes.
Arab is Árabes.
Árabes.
There you go. Caribbean is Caribeño.
Say that again.
Caribeño.
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 There you go. I knew we would have a little bit of trouble with that one. Chinese is easy. That's Chino.
Chino.
There you go. Japanese is Japonés.
Japonés.
And Thai is Tailandés.
Tailandés.
Those last three ones, Chinese, Japanese, and Thai, are Asiáticos.
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 That means from Asia.
From Asia.
There you go. I am Leo, and this was your KLEK Learn Spanish Minute.
Starks Auto Plaza, your pre-owned superstore, is a longtime supporter of KLEK. 2829 Red Wolf Boulevard, Starks offers clean, reliable vehicles of all makes and models. Starks also offers no-hassle pricing, friendly service, financing options with approved credit. At Starks, you're always family, and our motto is, we never say no. 870-203-9980. StarksAutoPlaza.com.
Hey, what's up, Jonesboro? This is Hezekiah Walker. I'm so blessed to be on the radio here at KLEK 102.5 FM. Join me for the Hezekiah Walker Show every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 10 o'clock a.m. right after Community Conversations, and every Wednesday night right after your local church Bible study at 8 o'clock p.m. Jonesboro, join me, Hezekiah Walker, and give every praise to our God on KLEK 102.5 FM.
Hezekiah Walker. It's the Hezekiah Walker Show.
Support for KLEK is brought to you by
Fullness of Joy Ministries, 2120 Thorn Street, Jonesboro, under the direction of Bishop Adrian Rogers and co-pastor Susan Rogers. www.fjministries.org.
Did you know that KLEK 102.5 FM is a non-profit organization? Did you know that you can donate to KLEK 102.5 FM and your donation is tax deductible? Donations to non-profit organizations such as KLEK can reduce the amount of taxes you may owe the IRS or increase the amount of any potential tax refund. Support your KLEK today. You can donate by calling 870-277-1080, visiting our studio at 1411 Franklin Street in Jonesboro, or on our website www.klekfm.org. We at KLEK 102.5 FM are blessed and grateful for your support.
And Now back to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM.
And we're back on our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. Kato Wonder is in the studio with you, joined by Mr. Brad Dow, Mrs. Amanda Donovan, and Brother Bernard Cobbs. We're discussing at-large versus ward-based voting. And before we went to break, we had Mrs. Emma Agnew on the line. Mrs. Agnew, are you still there? Mrs. Agnew, are you still on the line with us? Okay, well, Mrs. Agnew, if you couldn't call us back, it showed that it was still someone on the line, but she may hang up. But, Mrs. Agnew, if you want to continue, please call back and we'll be glad to bring you back on. But, okay, and here she is. All right, Mrs. Agnew, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, so let's go ahead and pick up where you left off.
Okay, I don't remember where I left off, but I remember that I was about finished. but I did just want to say that the council meetings are always on the website. They're always published on the city webpage. The agenda is also always published on the city webpage. So if you want to look and see what's going to be on the agenda before you show up, you can have that information ahead of time. And they always run it in the paper. But I do think it would be a good idea if KLEK was willing to reach out to their particular demographic to make sure that people are aware. And even if you guys could print off the agenda and let folk know what's going to be coming up.
And we just mentioned that about having a PSA that would just run in regular rotation to announce the city council meetings.
I think that would be a great idea. And also, back to the by-ward voting issue, until the community comes together as a group and organizes how best to combat that, it will not change, because council is not going to vote to change it.
Well, I want to piggyback on that real quick, because and you're making amazing points, and you're right. When it comes down to it, though, they are a representation of this city. And let's relate that to kind of what happened last year, and not to get off on a different topic, but you had the property maintenance. You had plenty of the city that came together and said, we don't want this. And I think that's honestly the first step, is education on what's actually going on. I mean, and you've got a great topic that people need to be aware of. And I'll just give my personal opinion. By pure definition, am I a minority? No. But I agree with you, and I think that's the thing. You need to be focusing on the community as a whole, not just a certain subset, because there are tons of people out there that feel probably the same way, and it's just not being targeted or educated. And I think if you get enough people out there to really give a voice, kind of like property maintenance, you're going to see that you have probably more numbers than you realize, and that's what it comes down to. It is, you get enough people, and legally you can have enough people to get that on a ballot and put it to the people and see what the people say. And I think that's going to be your first line in your first target right there.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the only way to go with it, is to have it on the ballot. But I agree with you to a certain extent. But until the people who are most affected appreciate and understand how deeply they are affected, it's still going to fall on deaf ears. Because if you're fighting for a group of people who aren't fighting for themselves and who there is no issue to, then that's going to affect a lot of the way that a lot of the community votes. Well, who does this issue affect if you change this? Well, it affects everybody generally, but the people who will be most affected, who will be able to have representation in those areas who are historically and traditionally underrepresented, they're not at the table. And so if they're not at the table, then maybe it's not such a big deal. I know that's the way I would look at it. If they're going to be affected disproportionately and greater than anybody else in the city, and they don't seem to think it's a big deal, why am I voting for it? Why are we wasting taxpayer money holding an election or putting it on a ballot when those people who you all say will benefit from this don't have any interest? So I still think that and you are totally right. I totally agree that, and there is a lot of support in the general community. We saw it before, we see it now, but until the community that stands to benefit greatly to to have their voices heard at a louder level than they are now, until they realize and understand that. You will still have some of the fighters and the folk who support, but you're not going to get that groundswell of community support until they hear from people like Bernard Cobbs and the Norma Farrells and the other folks. When that happens in numbers, that's when you really gain the community support. Because, otherwise, what are we supporting? What are we fighting for? So I agree to a certain extent, but I still think it's crucial. It is very crucial that people in certain wards who feel and complain about being underrepresented need to say that out loud,
yes,
so that the greater community can hear it and understand it.
Well, Mrs. Agnew, we certainly thank you for you adding so much to our discussion today.
Yes, we appreciate
Well,
it.
thank you.
I totally agree with you, Miss Agnew.
I agree. You be here, my
All
name.
Well, all right. Well, Ms. Agnew
All
is
right,
out.
thanks, guys.
All right, we thank you for your
It's
listen.
a great conversation. You all continue on.
Yes, ma'am. We thank you for listening and thank you for your support.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, so before we move on, any other responses to what Mrs. Agnew said? Any other thoughts on this?
Okay, I was like she was saying to me, if they're not concerned, the city council not going to be concerned.
Yeah.
So we got to get out there and let them be concerned. And the main thing, quote unquote, from back in the day, churches. If the black churches, or churches, minorities, or Mexican churches, or whatever, in that area would expound on these things that need to be done. Because that's what most people congregate to, is the churches. And they can get a representation, Mexican, the whites, the blacks, or whoever in that ward or whatsoever. If the people of, I ain't gonna say educated people, but people of higher standards or something could let the people know. Because, like I said, there's a lot of people in your area don't even know about the meetings, but they want things to change. They don't know how to go about doing it.
Right.
But somebody in that area should show up and teach them what needs to be done.
There are plenty of tools out there for them to use.
We having a meeting at the library today. Everybody in this area that wants to know about drainage, wants to know about light changing, wants to know about reforming your resident codes, R1, R2, R3, what's C1, what all that mean. A lot of people don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
We just live in a residential area. No, there's different residential 1, residential 2, residential 3. What can have a store, what cannot have a store, what can have apartments, what cannot have apartments. They don't know that.
Or
In a
what's
barbershop, I'm listening to that.
Right. Residential commercial
Right.
and all kinds of stuff.
And we'll use that to transition into something else is coming on. And basically, there's been a story, and I don't know all of the details. So I want to actually frame this in a larger sense, but there is a development in South Jonesboro and South Caraway, some apartments that are supposed to be built, and there has been some opposition to this because some people think, well, it's going to cause too much issues with traffic in an area that's already heavily congested, and they should put sidewalks there. But I want to frame the discussion in the larger thing, as far as like development. Do we need changes in how we zone and develop things throughout the city? I mean, because there's been some situations to where people are concerned when someone says, I want to build an apartment complex here. Then you have people come and say, well, we don't want an apartment in our neighborhood. It's going to bring down our property value. It's going to cause crime. It's going to cause headaches and traffic and things. So what do you think, thoughts on this kind of all of this as a whole?
I'm gonna say that's why can they make R1, R2, and R3. Certain just residential area R1, no, you don't want that in your area. But if you want to be mixed and live in R2, well, you know what you're going to get.
Oh well, let me cut you off since we were charged with announcing there is going to be a city council meeting this Tuesday that is going to talk about this development on Caraway Road. So whether you are for it or against it, of course, it's our official policy not to tell you which way to feel. But if you want to know more about it, if you are for it or if you are against it, then the city council will meet Tuesday and you can make your voice known either for or against. So, all right, Brother Cobbs, continue.
Okay, and you need to know, what area, when you move, you need to know what area you're moving in. Because R3, I mean, it's almost any kind of store can move in, and all this, and R2, any kind of apartments can move in. So if I'm already zoned for that, why should we have to? Why should there be an issue? You zone for apartments or let apartments come there. You don't want to be there.
Yeah, one of the big arguments that's going on with the topic right now, and if most people don't realize, it is South Caraway, pretty much where South Caraway is a lot of that corner right there with the open fields. They're looking at putting in some new apartment complexes. So I think it's a 300-unit complex.
300.
Yeah. So I mean, I think one of the biggest topics that's going on out there right now is not really the fact that it's an apartment complex coming in. It's just the sheer number of apartments that are out there. I think it's probably within what they said about 2,000 feet or whichever. You've got probably about 1,500 to 2,000 apartment complexes out there in a mile radius. It is a lot of apartments. So that's where the people are being concerned about.
And then they're going to be splitting up the school district because so you move out there, where the kids want to go to school? Nettleton. And Nettleton don't want all that. They want the people, but that's a lot of diversity going to be right there.
Well, and I think on that regards, you have that many people, influx of people coming into a school district, but basically instead of like a whole bunch of houses in which property taxes can be drawn from, you just got this set of buildings that is not as much. I don't know how property tax laws work, but I would think less property tax comes from some apartment buildings than a same number of people in actual houses. If I'm wrong, one of y'all can correct me.
The big thing is the residents out there in that area. They are discussing traffic and crime. Tax-wise, it's probably not going to be much.
Crime is already there.
Because your taxes, your schools should probably be okay with this. That's more taxes coming into the schools. That's more funding for schools with taxes. But you've got traffic and crime, and actually the study right now is on the traffic section out there. That is probably the largest number of traffic per day on a 2-lane road in the city of Jonesboro.
Well, looks like they need to widen it.
Right. My opinion is, why aren't we selling the rest of the town? I understand. I'm all for it's your property, what you do what you want. But if you think about it, this is going to cause the people actually dying. This could cause bodily harm, like traffic. Who's going to pay for the street to get widened? It's not going to be the people building the complex.
I'm in the school left a little bit to Burkoff so you can get me on the camera.
Well, if you think about it, there's 300 rental apartments. So you divide that by 2. Because, let's just say 2 people, 2 cars per household. That's 150 vehicles per that complex. And think about it. 300 divided by 2 is 150 added cars. Not only do we have apartment complexes, we got all kinds of businesses down there. We also have the Miracle League. We also have Jonesboro Human Development Center. And, residential. Fox Meadow School. And I've driven down there at 5 o'clock. Actually, I tried to sit at, I know this is breaking the law, but I was sitting on top of the bridge for 45 minutes on Caraway the other day, and I was trying to take a picture of how bad the traffic was backed up.
You admitted to breaking the law?
I did. I will admit it. I was in the wrong, but come on now.
Shout out to the JPDs that are listening.
45 minutes trying to take a, sitting there in line. Finally, I was so agitated, I wanted to take a picture and show them. Who's going to pay for this road being widened? It needs to be at least a 5-lane. And we know people, the city don't have the funds to widen that road. Plus, we'd have to get all kinds of permits and easements, and then the cost of laying it. And the people who is planning on bringing this apartment complex ain't going to want to pay for the road being widened. And then you got the discussion of sidewalks. Who's going to pay for the sidewalks?
The people that's building is supposed to pay. I was told the people that's building a project like that is supposed to be responsible for the easement and the curbs and the sidewalk. Supposed to be.
Supposed to be. But anyways,
as the world turns.
That's right.
So I would simply say that if you're a resident out there and you have an opinion, as again said, Tuesday night city council meeting. If you have an opinion, go let them know, because this will, in a way, directly affect you. As far as the city goes, though, you're expanding. We're bringing in more people.
And Brad, not to cut you off, but let me just let this be known as far as speaking up in front of the city council, because this is very important. If you are really passionate about, and not just this issue, but if you're really passionate about anything, contact your city councilman or call City Hall and ask to be put on the agenda, because the public comment, the way it works at the end, I think it's like 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I think they don't allow like 3 people max to speak, something like that. But the point is, if you got a room full of people and there's only about 5 minutes to talk, you're not gonna get to say much, especially if the first person comes and takes up all of the 5 minutes and no one else has got to state their opinion. I saw that firsthand when I covered the council meeting when they was talking about police pay. So if you feel really strongly about this issue or any issue, call your councilman and ask to be put on the agenda, and then you won't be restricted as far as how much time you have to speak out on whatever issues that you care about.
Okay, and as you was talking about the apartments being built out there and things of that nature, you can live where you want to live, and to me in Jonesboro, but look at the value. Like you said, the property value is going to go down because South Caraway now value of those houses is low because government assistance has come in there, and them apartments begin to get government assistance. So I mean, you can live. I mean, the president is on government assistance because he don't pay no bill. We pay his bill, so government. So he's government assistance. He's the highest one. But just the ordeal. I mean, look at what it's going to bring in.
Now, I'm going to play the other side of this opinion, though, just for fun here, is that, I do agree that it is going to bring a large influx to that area, but as a citywide, we need it. From a citywide, because everybody's
be spread it.
Well, and here's what I mean by that is that everybody's like, well, we want more things to do in Jonesboro. We want more of this. We want more of this.
But
we want more of
need
this.
to spread it out through town.
Not arguing with you one bit. The point of the matter is that people, as residents, we say we want growth. We want to see new businesses. We want to see new restaurants. We want to see new stores.
Okay, we don't want to keep saying the same thing over
that's a whole different topic. But businesses, when they come and they expand, they look at growth, and it is growth. So you got to look at it. It is growth, but it's going to affect people.
But really, is it growth or is it shifting?
That's a good point.
My question is,
because they're coming from the north side, because the doctors and stuff is buying all that up over there, so it's shifting them to the south side. Oh yes, citizens, we know what you all are doing. You're shifting from the north to the south, and it's just is that really growth? I mean, you're decorating that area, but you're tearing down this area to put up doctor buildings and medical facilities, and we know this. So
why ain't we showing other parts of town off?
Right.
Like the north side would probably like a brand new apartment complex, or the west side would probably really enjoy, because there ain't very much out there past there.
Well,
I know a lot of people would really enjoy a brand new apartment complex on the north side of Jonesboro.
Instead of all them two duplexes they building on the, I ain't saying nothing.
Well, alrighty, y'all. You tuned to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. And if you would like to join in on the conversation, you can give us a call at 870-277-1080. Once again, that phone number is 870-277-1080. You can also post your questions and comments on our Facebook live stream. We've got a Facebook shout out to Bill Bedden. Well, Bill, appreciate you for tuning in to our thoughts on the matter. We're going to go ahead and get ready to go into a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about something a little bit more lighthearted. We're going to talk about Mother's Day. Well, we only have one mother in here, but all the rest of us were the son of somebody's mother, so we're going to give honor and shout out mothers, and we're just going to make it do what it do. You're tuned to KLEK 102.5 FM.
You're listening to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
Black Health Now. Al Roker, Star Jones, Jennifer Holliday. What do they have in common? They all had radical surgeries to help them lose deadly weight that was threatening their lives. Is weight loss surgery for you? It's a decision that can only be made after multiple consultations with your primary physician and a skilled surgeon. Surgery is usually a last resort, for those with 100 or more pounds to lose who have tried and failed using traditional non-surgical weight loss programs. Most weight loss operations involve reducing the size of the stomach so the patient experiences a sense of fullness when small amounts of food are consumed. If you think you may be a candidate for weight reduction surgery, talk it over with your doctor, who will refer you to a specialist. I'm Alexis Gomer for Black Health Now.
Black Health Now.
Black Health Now is made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization dedicated to uncompromising commitment to communities, service, leadership, empowerment. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
The McDaniel Law Firm, 400 South Main Street in Jonesboro, is a firm believer in justice and equality for the minority community. The McDaniel Law Firm has fought for our rights for over 44 years. The McDaniel Law Firm offers legal help for wrongful death as well as trucking and automobile accidents. Bobby and Brett McDaniel are available for a free consultation at 870-336-4747 or at www.mcdaniellawyers.com.
When a woman gives her all to her boyfriend, she is hopeful about the future. Marriage was in her future plans until she received some shocking news. Now, with her dreams shattered and life altered, she has to pick up the pieces and move forward. It was in this experience that she realized that love has no protection. KLEK 102.5 FM and Massey Productions presents the inspirational gospel stage play, Love Has No Protection, a story that will inspire you, renew and reaffirm your faith, featuring performers from all over Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana. One big show, 7 p.m., Saturday, June 24th, at the Arkansas State University Student Union Auditorium. Tickets are $10 in advance, $15 at the door, and can be purchased at KLEK, Cool Cuts, online at www.klekfm.org, or by calling 870-277-1080. Bring the entire family, Saturday, June 24th, to the Arkansas State University Student Union Auditorium to see Love Has No Protection, the inspirational gospel stage play, 7 p.m. This event is a KLEK fundraiser.
And now back to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM.
And we're back on our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. Kato Wonder is in the studio with you, joined by Mrs. Amanda Donovan and Mr. Brad Dow. Brother Cobbs he should be back in the studio in just a moment. Of course, for the final segment of our thoughts on the matter, we're going to give our thoughts on something a little bit more lighthearted. But first, let me read these first Facebook comments that we got in, and then we'll get into it. Oh, this is from Shanquetta, who was not able to join us today. Shanquetta says, I think we need more cottage-style first family houses as well as to attract families and a culture of people that want to stay. We do not have to build $200,000 homes all of the time. My thoughts on the matter. And happy Mother's Day to everyone. See you all next Saturday. Great discussion. So Shanquetta, happy Mother's Day to you. And of course, I'll start the Mother's Day shout out by shouting out my late mother, Mrs. Lovey Edmond Kale, who KLEK was named for, so that's why the call letters are LEK. And of course the first K is because our station is west of the Mississippi River. And of course, if you are watching on our Facebook live stream, if you look at the top of the video, there's a painting at the top middle of the screen that is Mom's portrait. And so shout out to my late mother, and also shout out to my mother-in-law, Mrs. Oni Moore in Mississippi, so as I call her Mom-law. So those are my Mother's Day shout outs. So we'll go ahead to, and well, I guess Amanda, shout out to yourself since you are a mother. Yes. The only mother that we have in the studio.
I'm a mother of 3 and of all girls, 8, 6, and 4, and they bring so much joy into my life. Like I was saying earlier, my Mother's Day present was a brand new sink for my bathroom, my brand new dishwasher, and a 10-inch double sink.
So who brought that for you?
I've had actually that 10-inch sink for about 5 years now, 6 years. And
that was an old gift that you just now getting put in.
So I mean, so do the men buy their wives Mother's Day gift, or do the children buy their Mother's Day gift. That's the type I have going on in my shop. Most men said, "No, that's not my mother. That's my."
If they're smart.
My husband bought the sink and
For the kids, or did he?
Well, it was from the kids, but he paid.
He paid for it to put their name on it.
But I know that part. But I'm just saying, if you're married and your kids all grown, do you still expect a Mother's Day gift from your husband? Would you still expect a Mother's Day gift from your husband?
I'm not really materialistic. As long as I get a happy Mother's Day, I'm good. Now, my girls, they actually got me a Hello Kitty trinket for my Pandora bracelet, and that's what they actually bought me. They saved their allowance up, and I was like, oh, trying to give them their money back, but they wouldn't take it.
That's the topic we've been having all week. Should the father of the kids, after the kids grown,
after the kids are grown, it should be the kids. That's what I do. I buy for my mama and my mother-in-law.
Well, I would think that you would get a gift for your significant other during your anniversary, not for Mother's or Father's Day. I mean, that's the occasion that I think you would recognize, like birthdays and anniversaries.
Christmas.
Okay, because I'm telling you, it's half and half right now.
Well, well, that's just my opinion. I mean, you've had this discussion in your shop, so obviously there's people who feel differently.
Oh, it's a lie.
I also want to put a shout out to my mother, who is a single mother and has been since I was probably 5 years old. She has been a wonderful mother. I couldn't ask for a better one. She's always been strong, devoted, work 12, 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, and come home and take care of me and my sister.
Well, definitely shout out to all the single mothers. I also was raised by a single mother. My father passed away when I was 11 years old. My mom and dad had cancer at the same time. Unfortunately, he passed away, but she would continue to live on, and so she had to take on the burden of raising me after he passed, and I guess I turned out all right.
Wow.
And my grandma Kathy and Grandma Shirley, who helped raise me, and my mama-in-law, who is watching, and I love you so much, Mama.
Okay,
all right, let's go ahead and get into Brother Cosby. Shout outs.
I give a shout out to my mother, Miss Willie Haywood, there in Brinkley, Arkansas. She taught me a whole lot. What she didn't teach me, she beat it in me.
That's right. That's
old
how my mama was.
Old school.
In fact, we may need to have a future discussion on whether or not to spank. I know KAIT did their thing. We had to run that up one day.
But I want to give a shout out to them and all the mothers of my church and all the mothers that I deal with in the salon. I want to give a shout out to all mothers.
All right, Brad.
Actually, looking as I got to say, that's a pretty impressive naming your radio station after that.
Yes, it was.
I had no idea. That's good to know. So, I'd love to get a shout out to my mother, Miss Barbara Harris, down in Benton, Arkansas. I'll be going there as soon as we finish today. She's always been there, always supported, always been there for an ear, for advice, and always kept us in the right, kept us in church, and can't thank her enough. Then I guess Sunday go down and see my grandmother in Pine Bluff, go see her and spend the day, and just if your mother's still alive, give her a hug around the neck, tell her you love her.
Definitely, she's not there because once your mom is gone, that's a hole in your heart that can never be filled. So,
and
one
way to look at it too, if they're not there with you, respect them and show them the respect by being who you are. Don't disrespect them by.
That's not you.
Yeah.
Please, children, do not break your mother's heart. Please don't.
What does in the Bible about disobedient child live half their days?
Half their days. I want all mine. I got beat it into the rest of them, but I want all mine.
Well, also speaking of Mother's Day, tomorrow, Brother Cobbs, you are going to be here tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir.
So, Brother Cobbs will be taking your Mother's Day shout-outs all day Sunday, right here on KLEK. So, if you listen to Victory Praise Gospel and you want your mother to be recognized and shout out, give us a call.
7:30 to 3.
Give us a call at 870-277-1080. Once again, that phone number is 870-277-1080. You can also send your comments online, and Brother Cobbs will be glad to read your Facebook shout-outs on the air. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to wind down the show so that Mr. Dow can get on the road and have a safe trip to go see his mother. For each and every one of you that are traveling out there, we pray that you have safe travels and and that you arrive to your destination safely, and that you come back to your destination safely. So, and just remember to encourage each other, pray for each other. That's about all I think of. I'm gonna let you all kind of.
Okay, I want to give a shout out to all the graduates that graduated from today from ASU, and then the one from Truman last night, and Nettleton just all the graduates, because I think Jonesboro graduating Tuesday night. I think Tuesday and Wednesday night. We'll give a shout out to all the graduates.
Go out there and make us proud.
And on Monday, we're going to have a special, Quabila's going to have a special community conversations where she's going to shout out the graduates. So if you want your graduates shouted out, then be sure to tune in Monday from 9 o'clock a.m. to 10 o'clock a.m. for community conversations, and Quabila will shout out all of the graduates. So you can message us, let us know how proud you are of your graduate.
And one more thing, these are topics about the community, and we're always looking for topics. So if there's something you want us to talk about, or I guess Legans would probably let you come on potentially, or at least call in and talk.
We do accept guest panelists. So if you would like to be a guest panelist on the show or have a topic for discussion, just contact us at the radio station. It's kind of funny, people don't really call us as much now. Now people get on our KLEK Facebook and inbox me, and I have people inbox me 2 or 3 in the morning, and I wake up in the morning and they want things. So
definitely let us know what you guys would like to talk about. We would love to know.
But this is Jonesboro's community radio station. We are here for you, and we're part of this community, and we're just thankful for each and every one of you listening. You guys have a great and blessed day, weekend, and Mother's Day, and we will see you again next Saturday. You listen to Our Thoughts on the Matter, and this is KLEK 102.5 FM.
Thank you for listening to Our Thoughts on the Matter on KLEK 102.5 FM, a program offering opinions from all sides of the issues concerning local, state, and national topics of importance to the Jonesboro community. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters, donors, or sponsors.